What you want to do? What are you going to do next weekend? Want to hang out? Want to grab some drinks? Maybe go to a bar? I don't know. What do you feel like doing? What do you feel like doing?
That's why you got blocked, because this doesn't have anything to do with me, and you really want to make it about me. Enjoy your little 15 seconds of fame, you loser.
As if like, oh my god, I have to respond to every single person who ever criticizes me on the internet. Back off, Tubby. She needs a real 9-incher right now. Don't worry, I'm not gonna like release this call, or I'm not gonna do some video. I'm sorry, I don't know if this is your autism, but that was a completely different day. Yeah, you about my soundboard. I love my soundboard. My soundboard's great.
Tipster, nobody in your audience likes your soundboard.
Cheers, my horse. Love ya. No pedo.
Last time we covered the history of Tipster, from his rise from gaming news to drama coverage, and all the controversies he got in. From completely self-imploding in conversations with bigger YouTubers, to his crusty tweets about his goth mummies, and his meltdown over jokes made about one of his tweets. And we left off at the end of 2022, with Tipster having his worst year so far. First, one of his closest friends leaked pages of their DMs with each other, which made him look weird and often weak. And then Tipster was needlessly getting involved into the commentary community's small sectors. Whether it's spreading rumours and telling a person who tried to take their life that they are baiting it for attention, or getting back with a friend who leaked his DMs, only for her to force her child to call someone slurs over Discord, or quite literally auctioning the pride of him and his wife.
Okay, I'm willing to forgive you for what happened before.
Yeah.
And I'm willing to give you a handsome donation. 160.
Tipster, we ain't getting nowhere. Because you realize, you realize, Tipster, I have dogs barking at their
$175.
Tipster, listen.
You'd think this would be Tipster's lowest point ever, losing to Spurgs, up a mentally ill people. None of these were the final blow in any regard, they just added on to the bandwagon of people who disliked him. And it would be the next situation at the start of 2023 that completely destroyed Tipster's reputation in the community. As all of Tipster's worst controversies have begun, this one started with a situation that he totally could have avoided. In place of AP, Tipster had gotten a new prime goth mommy e-girl by the name of Rum, although she was nowhere near as annoying or insane, but she was pretty weird. On February 19th, 2023, a commentary orbiter by the name of Alex Gekmo posted a tweet exposing Rum for liking, quote, little girl lolly CP on main. Whilst I'm obviously not going to show the image here, it's a drawing of someone who obviously looks like a child and has explicit clothing on, although they're not engaged in sexual activity as would be implied. But regardless, if you're normal, you'd think this is lolly and it's fucking weird. But unlike DJ Screwdriver's tweet about AP, Alex never mentioned Tipster in his tweet, instead mentioning other orbiters that AP was friends with. So how did Tipster get involved this time? Well, it's because Rum got a bit of backlash from a tweet and vented about it to Tipster, to which he decided to get involved, tweeting this. I see the usual suspects are trying to call someone out for liking lolly when they don't know what the f lolly actually is. Some things never change. It's lolly, Tipster. It's a cartoon of a child in nothing but a strip of clothing covering the flat chest and crotch. Had to unfollow Rum because her liking it put that disgusting to my timeline. Why is it a child? Because it had small tits? Guess grown-ass women never had small tits before. Small tits? The girl has no tits, Tipster. It's clearly a child. You think it's lolly but you are comfortable tweeting it? Lol. To show you that there's a kid, because clearly you're giving Rum too much benefit of the doubt and need to see what she likes. This is pedo shit. I've seen it already and I don't think it's lolly. I've seen video game characters that look like this and no one bats an eye. Whoa, Tipster, what kind of fucking video games are you playing? I disagree, also I've never seen a video game character dressed like that whilst looking that young. You have an example. My point is that this community is full of spurgs who know nothing about anime or anime culture, commenting on anime culture, no! Oh my god, Tipster, stop, it looks so, Jesus, looks awful. I stand by my take, Rum did nothing wrong, I will die on that hill. Gonna have to disagree, Tipster. Lolly are typically sexualized children, and this is a sexualized child. Really? You know the background of this character? You know their age? Damn dude, where'd you find that info? Tipster, no, Tipster, why are you donning the anime weeb fedora for this? Stop! Bro, stop, you're making the 9,000-year-old dragon argument. Well, surely it can't get any worse. Oh god, Mr. Girl said it was lolly. Mr. Girl said it was lolly. The guy whose entire expertise on pedophilia said it was lolly. That is a child. Bro, no grown woman looks like that. You wouldn't know. Pretty sure grown women won't terminally online basement dwellers. Oh, I'm just getting it through facts that he called into Doc on the Radio's livestream later. Hopefully this is just a big misunderstanding we kill it up, because Tipster, if you're defending this it's really weird.
So, Tipster, I'd like to explain your thought process of some of your tweets you've made. about
So my thought process is that, like, I feel like a lot of the people who are chiming in on this situation don't know shit about anime. They have done stylized art of characters that are clearly adults in nature in similar art styles. It's clearly
what do you mean by what do you mean by stylized?
Meaning all the characters are done in the same art style.
So looking like kids.
No, I mean, to you it looks like kids, but like just because you think something is a kid doesn't mean it's a kid. I mean, by that logic, you can make the same argument that 24-year-old reality star who everybody says looks like a kid is a kid.
Does Tipster not know that the reality star has had people creep on her because of how she looks?
Is not your first reaction looking at that like that looks like a kid? What do you mean? Like,
no.
What?
No, it
what?
looks like
That's not your first
art
reaction? I want to hear Izzy's
The
point.
reason why I brought this up is because this is the same character they brought up in the similar art style in 5 ways, and
this is not a similar art style. We're looking at a 3D character here. How is that a similar art style, my dude?
Tipster, I know you like
want
to run
so hard to be right.
Wait, Tipster, let Izzy speak. Let Izzy speak.
I know you want
Tipster,
to
okay.
Bro, I'm just exhausted. What's going? I have no words for this.
So chat, above image right here, that is the one. The left image right here, this is the one that Rum liked. This artist interacts with this user. The user responds saying, "The children that Mochi-san draws look so kind and weak, so cute." Let's say that this is referring to children that this person draws.
My whole point was that we don't have enough information to deduce that this is a child. But if it came out that, yes, these are child characters, then, like, I would 100% concede.
Bro, it's called common sense. There should not be, like, a King Arthur Knights of the Round Table discussion about this. I don't even have to say anything. Well, I've just been told he went on Keemstar's stream after this. Maybe this was just a bad call, and let's hear him out. Hopefully he...
First of all, what I want to get into is you guys are saying that I'm defending Lolly, and I would never defend Lolly, okay? I don't advocate for Lolly.
But you're defending the girl
who liked it,
Lolly, for liking Lolly. So indirectly, you're defending it, right?
But my interpretation is that it's not Lolly.
Okay, so Tipster, how would you define Lolly in your own personal opinion?
Sexualized depictions of children. But the thing is, we don't know if this like particular character is a child.
Okay,
that's
so
my only argument here.
So let me ask you a question. If I were to draw a picture of a child, right? And then you were to look at me and said, well, that's a picture of a child you just drew. But I were to say, no, it's not a child. It's actually a 40-year-old woman, right? Where's the connect there? Like, at the end of the day, does it look like a child? Does it resemble a child, right? If it looks like a child and it's being sexualized, that is sexualizing a child, right? In the form of an image. In the form of an image. Like, I don't see how there's some sort of disconnect there.
I think it just comes down to like a agree to disagree.
Oh, there's the classic Tippy tunnel vision. Agree to disagree from Tipster, hitting you right there again. Perfectly valid point, completely blunted by fake concession. He does not want to have this conversation right now.
Okay, so you say that you don't like the image, right? So I want to ask you, does looking at that image in any way make you feel uncomfortable?
Do I think it's like a really creepy, weird-looking piece? Sure, but I don't think it's Lolly.
Okay, so then let me ask you a question. What are the factors that draw you to say that this is a very creepy, weird-looking piece? Because we also agree this is a very weird, creepy-looking piece, and the reason why we say that is because it looks like a child. You could say it's bad art or it's not a well-drawn piece, but what makes you say that it's creepy and it's unsettling, right? You're saying the words creepy and unsettling. So what is leading you to come to that conclusion?
Because again, it's not a piece that I'm fond of. I don't like this particular art piece.
Bro, he just said I'm not fond of that piece. What, do we have to get you to jerk off to it and study the post-nut clarity to see if it looks like a child? What an absurd point to make.
Why can't you just admit though that the reason why it's creepy and unsettling is because it looks like a child? Like that's the only bridge that we're failing to connect here. It's creepy and unsettling to you because it looks like a lewd child. That's what it looks like. You're literally saying that. If it didn't look like that, then it wouldn't be creepy or unsettling to you at all. Like, you're literally admitting to it without admitting to it.
I don't know. I just feel like we're going around in circles here because I've given my position on this, and it just seems like you guys want me to say something that you're expecting.
Okay.
I'm not.
Okay.
I feel the way I feel about it, and it is what it is.
Oh, it's another classic Tippy tunnel vision. It's just a fake concession. We're going in circles. It is what it is. Tipster does not want to answer the question because he can't.
I think it's like gross how people are always on a pedo hunt to try and label people as pedophiles, and it's like, what? Because they like anime and anime art? This is retarded. And I'm sorry, I just agree with you guys, and you for trying to turn this into Tipster likes Lolly and Tipster.
What am I supposed to think? What am I supposed to think when you're saying that you're gonna die on this hill, Tips? Now he left. left. He's saying, I will die on this hill. I will die on this hill. Bro, if you care so much that this isn't lolly, if you care that much that you're tweeting out, I'm going to die on this hill, then something's wrong, and I want to get to the bottom of it.
I want to stress I plucked around half of the clips from this 8-minute conversation, and the rest of it is just the same stuff I showed you. It's Keemstar and Packard asking Tipster what makes it so weird, and him dodging. It was like pulling teeth to get an answer from Tipster. But it gets worse. You'd think he would stop here, but no. In fact, Tipster started going on Twitter and liking sexualized lolly pictures in some sort of solidarity with his friend. What the is going on? Oh, just getting this in right now. Apparently he went on Xyle's stream and looked like even more of an idiot.
I have gone on record on Doc's show to say that if it comes out that this artist says that this is a child, I will concede that yes, okay, they're identifying as a child. There's no question about it at that point. But I am not in any way endorsing like the existence of lolly. No. I don't consume lolly content. I'm not in favor of the existence of lolly content. I'm not even saying that this necessarily isn't lolly. I'm saying we don't know.
I don't know how it could be any clearer. That character could be a 9,000-year-old dragon, but at the end of the day, it looks like a child. It's hard to even be neutral in such a clear-cut situation, and Tipster's not even the neutral party here. He's making tweets defending Rum, saying she did nothing wrong without the situation even concluding.
But that's another thing, is you're saying that she said it's lolly, and even she didn't say that.
Yes, she did. What are you talking about?
No, she did not say that. She did not say that she thought it was lolly.
She said that looks like a child.
I don't think that's what she said.
And that she liked it by accident. That's what she said on my show.
Wait, so on Keemstar's show, Rum, the person being accused, called in and said it looked like a child. And we've seen tweets about the artwork and how childlike it looks. Tipster, what are you even defending anymore?
Wait a minute.
Is Repzilla in this shop? Everyone's asking Repzilla to join.
Diesel, look at this tweet that's connected to that picture in question.
What does it say? It's blurry for me.
Yeah, it's blurry. You gotta...
Yeah, I can't see anything either.
Oh, it's a boy.
So wait. This entire time, Tipster's interpretation of this lolicon artwork has been based on the tits. He literally says, why is it a child? Because it had small tits. Guess grown-ass women never had small tits before. It's not even a girl! It's a boy! This is unbelievable. Now, with the revelation that this artwork was actually a boy, you'd think Tipster would stop there. And in fairness, he did post a tweet, which looked like it was finishing this whole situation off. But Tipster just couldn't let it go. He needed to dig his hole deeper. And so, on February 23rd, 2023, he uploaded his career death wish, otherwise known as the video, My Response to the Drama.
My position was literally just this. Is this image lolly? And if so, why?
Oh boy, we're in for a doozy. Tipster decided to make a 12-minute response video to the whole drama, paired with the amazing Donkey Kong Country gameplay and music, as he talks about the situation which should have been settled ages ago.
But this is why I was asking the questions I was asking. We knew all about the character that was depicted in this image, and yet judgment calls were being made about it, and I was just looking for a bit of clarification just to be sure.
But Tipster, it's lolly. It's not like a false rape allegation. It doesn't need this intricate analysis. Rum likes a picture that clearly looks like a child. If it was a 45-year-old, that would change barely anything. I'm not even going to say that Rum purposely likes the tweet or is into lolly. She has said it was an accident, but Tipster's mental gymnastics to justify all this is just so insane.
Which, by the way, that's another thing. Everyone keeps saying I dived into the situation head first without knowing anything about the situation, and that I hadn't even spoken to her. Dog, I was literally in call with her when I made my initial tweet. This community is so desperate to expose the next big creep or pedophile that the molehill, y'all made a mountain out of a grain of sand.
No, Tipster, you are the only person here who made a mountain out of something. No one mentioned you until you came in. Rum looks worse because you got involved and made it into community-wide drama. Shut up.
I am all for criticizing people and even using our platforms to expose legitimately bad people who use and abuse their platforms to prey on and exploit people, especially children. But when we start putting the actions of innocent people under a microscope to find the next villain of the week, something has gone horribly wrong. It's gross, and I, for one, refuse to be a part of that. I refuse to be a part of a community that fosters that kind of behavior. For f***'s sake. We used to be the community that would dig deep into a topic to clear the names of innocent people and have even vindicated people with evidence who were previously condemned due to outright lies in the past. Yet somehow we got from there to here.
Okay, so this is the point for me when Tipster went off the deep end. I'm sorry, but let's compare these situations. Rum, your friend, got caught accidentally liking a picture of Lolly, and you defended her for hours on end. Then we have Slazo, falsely accused of rape. I'm sorry, these are not comparable. Tipster, you're insane. So, just to recap, Tipster's friend accidentally liked a sexual picture of Lolly. Tipster went on multiple streams arguing that the character that clearly looked like a child wasn't a child. He argued to look into the age of this character and like sexualized Lolly on Twitter in some sort of solidarity with his friend. One of his biggest arguments was comparing the character's breast size, which was then rendered completely null and void when it was found out that the character was not a girl, but a boy. And then Tipster couldn't let it go and made a video comparing the entire situation to false allegations. I was watching this and I was so confused on how Tipster's brain worked to the point where this was an actual point he was making. It's amazing how Tipster managed to get into a situation which just shows off all of his worst flaws, as well as tying him to one of the weirdest topics you could ever defend. It's a situation that has an obvious resolution and could have been easily solved if Tipster stayed out of it, but he just couldn't help himself. He was literally going from show to defend the showter. This was the indicator to jump ship. However, his closest friends in the community had similar criticism for him, but at the end of the day, they still wanted him around.
Is this a witch hunt for us? No.
No, and honestly, just to be clear, none of us are saying Tipster's got to go anywhere or anything like that. Yeah. Just making fun of him.
I want Tipster in the community.
Look, I am making fun of him.
But Tipster had enough.
With the exception of a few people in this community that I consider friends, I think the rest of you all are a bunch of fucking parasites, and I want nothing to do with that. And yes, I will die on that hill.
After the controversies involving AP and him defending his friend for Lolly, Tipster started moving away from the commentary community and cozying up to other online spaces, in particular, Keffals. For those unaware, Keffals is a somewhat known online trans activist who I guess got her fame from ratioing people on Twitter. She's also well known for campaigning against the online forum Kiwi Farms, using a Twitter following and spearheading the hashtag #DropKiwiFarms movement. Keffals has gone on campaigns to deplatform multiple creators. She's falsely accused Chud Logic of being a pedophile, falsely accused Destiny of being a rapist. She raised $100,000 for a lawsuit and no one knows what happened with the money. She's under fire for allegations related to her server Catboy Ranch, and she's promoted the shipping of black market hormones for kids to go behind their parents' back and transition. More relevant to Tipster, Keffals also wanted to deplatform him, along with his commentary friends back in 2022, and some of her associates actually made partial progress in this. But now, in big 2023, Tipster was interacting and liking all of her tweets and acting like they were best buds. Now, Tipster's friends in the commentary community saw this interaction, and they were kind of weirded out because they've all been critical of her in the past. But at the end of the day, they let Tipster do whatever he wanted to do peacefully. And if he left peacefully, maybe this video wouldn't have been made, or Tipster wouldn't have become a Lolcow. But instead, he started blocking people in the commentary community over a meme about how the LGBT community had forgiven him. Then Tipster started going on his streams and saying how good Keffals' community had treated him, allegedly accusing the commentary community of inflicting serious harm on his mental health. So if Tipster really did say that the commentary community seriously impacted his life, that's astonishing, because we've gone through all of Tipster's controversies in this video, bar a couple of small Discord dramas that no one cares about, and could all this really drive someone's mental health off the roof? I mean, he got bodied by some YouTubers in 2021, had his DMs leaked in 2022, and got criticized by a bunch of small commentators and fans. Did that really up Tipster? Further suspicions were raised after a conversation between Augie RFC and Tipster, where Tipster essentially blames Augie's audience and the commentary orbiters who criticized him for driving him away from the commentary community. But again, most of these situations were ones that Tipster could have easily stayed out of, and in some cases he directly caused them. There's some stuff in this conversation that we could dig deep into, but look at the video time, we're running over already. The important thing here is that the result of this conversation was people in the community starting to seriously side-eye Tipster, and this was the foundation for what would be Tipster's turning point. Personally, if his drama in the commentary community impacted his mental health, I don't really have any sympathy because of how he treated Colton, but that is just my opinion. Now, as I said, many people looked upon Tipster with suspicion, but one person who really wasn't was Boblax, who had been friends with Tipster for years. I haven't really mentioned him and Tipster too much in this video, but these two were pretty close friends. At one point, Tipster even called Boblax his brother. These two were homies. So things started getting heated when in early June, Boblax accidentally leaked one of his alt accounts on Twitter called Throbbing Horsecock. This was a shitpost account where the Boblax would tweet once every year, but when he tweeted it was wild. From wanting to pro-Jared and paracynical, to dropping the dreaded N-bomb a couple of times, this was a pretty wild account. But what stood out for others was one of the jokes that Boblax made in 2019, where he said, trans women aren't real women, but I'd still f the shit out of them. Now, if you're at least a little familiar with Boblax's content or his positions, you're somewhat aware that he's one of the most progressive people in his community. Throughout his career, he's advocated for trans people and has talked about it multiple times. This is clearly just an old joke, but to Keffels, someone who Boblax had previously talked to about trans issues, this was proof that he and his friends were all transphobes. This frustrated Boblax, who decided to post DMs between himself and Tipster, as Keffels had called him transphobic the month prior, but Tipster had excused it as just trolling. But now Keffels was talking about him being a transphobe because of an old 2019 tweet on a parody Twitter he rarely used. You can see how this kinda invalidates the excuse of it just being trolling months earlier. It's as if Keffels just wanted any reason to go at Boblax. Now, despite being mentioned, Tipster doesn't really have to get involved here. Again, just like with DJ Screwdriver and AP, you can't just ignore what people are saying about you and keep your feelings private. But Tipster obviously hasn't learned how to do that yet, so he had to hop in and argue with Boblax.
You're mad, and I'm a bit mad too. So
Okay.
who's gonna explain the madness first?
I just don't understand why you're leaking my DMs when you're in an argument with Keffels. If you, like, have a problem with Keffels, that's cool, dude. But, like, that's between you two. What's the problem? Like, why are you leaking my shit?
Cause you said that Keffels has changed, and you said that Keffels was just trolling and doesn't actually think I'm, like, transphobic or whatever.
Yeah, on that
and then
specific
she
day,
jumps
I didn't. On that
she
specific
jumps
day,
on the opportunity to get a 4-year-old tweet on a parody account where nothing has to do with
me, bro? What the f does that have to do with me? Why are you leaking my shit in regards to a conversation on a completely different day?
Because it relates to the situation.
No, it doesn't. This is a completely different
does.
conversation on a completely different disagreement you guys had.
Wait, it's about Keffels thinking I'm transphobic.
Well, yeah, because she sees, like, the recent tweets that you've made, the other stuff that came out, and she's, like, changed her mind. Like, okay, maybe I think he is transphobic.
Again, a clip that perfectly summarizes this entire debate. Tipster asks why Boblax posts the DMs. Boblax answers by saying because it relates to the current situation. She's totally fine with joking around here, but when she sees a 4-year-old tweet, she calls Boblax transphobic. And then Tipster, unable to go on from there and accept the L, he just moves on to a different question, and then loops back around as if Boblax never even answered this question.
I said I can understand that you're saying it's a joke, but, like, you can understand why she would be upset about it, right?
No, I can't, because we've had in-depth conversations about trans allyism in DMs and stuff like that, and she's just fucking going out of her way to attack me for no reason. She wants me to be transphobic.
So why don't you have a conversation with her about it? Why do you gotta drag me into this?
Because you dragged yourself into this when you went into my DMs and said that Keffels is just trolling and doesn't
Because she
think
was
I'm
just trolling you
transphobic.
that day.
You see the slimy little way to get out of it? Tippy tunnel vision at its best.
You're trying to conflate a completely different conversation that happened back in May with something that's happening now. That was
because they're directly related.
They're not, though. It's two completely different conversations.
About me being
Like,
transphobic?
She literally told me that day that she was trolling you. That's why I told you she was trolling you.
Okay, and
now
you know
she's
what
upset.
else it relates to? I'm trolling her on my parody account, and now she thinks that's legit, even though, but she's allowed to troll that I'm transphobic. Like, what? Like, why can she troll, but I can't?
I'm just frustrated because, like, I'm getting dragged into this, and
see, that's another little Tippy tunnel vision. He just slides off the question. It's amazing.
I mean, I just didn't think you would mind about me leaking something you would say publicly anyway.
Maybe you should have asked me first.
Yesterday.
Don't worry, I'm not gonna, like, release this call, or I'm not gonna do some video. I don't do commentary anymore. I don't give a about this anymore.
You're transphobic.
Boblax, like, I'm sorry, I don't know if this is your autism, but that was a completely different day.
During the debate, Boblax makes a perfectly valid complaint about how a trans person with a large following calling him a transphobe could affect him, and Tipster shows no empathy. He's truly in, he's locked in on Tippy tunnel vision.
If you have a problem with it, talk to her about it.
Why didn't she talk to me about it instead of going on her Twitter and blasting me as a transphobe to 100,000 people?
I don't know, dude.
Tipster's dying on the hill to defend Keffel's trolling, but will nail Boblax to the cross for doing the same. He's the guy who's crying about Boblax bringing up DMs from the previous month, yet sits idly by whilst Keffels calls Boblax a transphobe for something he said 4 years ago. I mean, the bias is shining through like the beams from heaven after racism gets installed on Discord. Boblax and Keffels later have a debate, but I do not want to give anyone the torture of listening to Keffels talk with the speed she's talking at. So yeah. But isn't it crazy that this is just like the stuff with Tommy C repeating again? Someone who Tipster previously disliked treated him nicely, and he completely burned the bridge with his former friends, taking the opportunity that came to stick the knife in Boblack's. Following this debate of sorts, AugierFC would do a stream reacting to the situation, eventually debating Keffals and later Tipster, and it's just L after L.
I'm doing great, man. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful tonight.
What I'm trying to understand is why are you guys so pissed about this when Boblax isn't even pissed about this? The whole
It doesn't
point
matter.
of me
I'm
bringing
allowed to commentate over whatever the fuck I want.
No, you can commentate on whatever you want, but I'm telling you, like, it seems like you're moral about something that Boblax isn't even upset
Whoa,
about.
Tipster, you can't be using that language like that. What the fuck is that about?
Why are you upset over something that Boblax isn't upset about? Boblax and I had a conversation this morning, and he's like, "Yeah, dude, you know, I don't really see a problem like what you did or whatever. Like, you know, you were trying to mediate
That's
between us.
irrelevant
Like,
to me.
that's the whole point of this. We were mediating a conversation. So you guys are making a big deal, making it seem like I backstabbed Boblax or some when the whole purpose of that conversation was just to mediate a conversation between him and Keffals.
That's irrelevant to me. It doesn't matter what Boblax thinks. I'm allowed to commentate.
So you don't
over
actually
whatever
have
the
an
fuck I
argument.
want.
You don't actually have an argument then.
No, my argument is I'm
cool.
allowed to commentate over whatever the fuck I want. If
No,
this
you can
call takes
commentate
place,
over whatever you want. I just don't understand why like this is such a big deal when the person who's
are
supposedly
you
the
really
victim in
sitting
this
there as a
doesn't-
commentator YouTuber going, "What's the big deal, man? What are you saying, dude? Like that's nothing."
I also like how you like told your
pivot.
audience
Okay,
about like
cool.
the
So
Colton
you lost that
situation.
point, so just pivot to something else. But okay, let's hear it.
No.
I won the
Yeah,
blood
their
sports.
tactic is just to scream over each other. That's how they
Tipster,
win.
you
That's
lost
the only way
too.
this
You
works.
got completely exposed as a pussy.
Dude, you were like loudster in
I
this
don't give a-
stream. You
I
talked
don't give
over
a-
everybody.
I don't give a
Tipster
fuck
had
what
you
you guys
spurting
think
and
about me.
squealing like a pig until you couldn't
I
answer
genuinely
shit.
don't give a fuck what you guys think about
Oh,
me. So
you don't give a fuck. That's why you're here. That's why you called in. You freak.
I don't give a
That's
shit,
why you called
dude.
in. Oh,
So-
why are you so quiet, man? What's going on?
If there's a little bit of dead air, I was just wondering.
What's
so
up?
what is the secret exactly to being at like a healthy relationship with shot streams?
Oh, go
like
fuck
how?
yourself, Nick.
Can you just tell
Literally
me
go
how the
fuck yourself.
average
I have-
alcoholic can get back to being like a pro?
With Tipster now taking his place in his new leftist community, it's fair to say that since then his content is taking a nosedive. It's great that he's gone from the toxic drama community to covering topics like kids dying or trans women lactating.
So it seems the big left versus right argument for the next few months is going to be about titty milk. Yes, you read that right. Titty milk, lol.
It's usually a good day for him if he gets above 300 viewers on his stream or 3,000 people watch any of his videos, and I don't blame them. This guy's content is so it's a mental echo chamber of the same 5 soundboard effects.
Yeah, you about my soundboard. I love my soundboard. My soundboard's great.
Tipster, nobody in your audience likes your soundboard.
And before he banned and blocks literally everyone he used to know, you could regularly catch Tipster ranting about some account with 10 followers who decided to fuck with him in DMs or his chat.
Dominoson, your viewership is dropping, my friend. Aren't you the dip who put out the tweet that was like, "Yo, dog, look at this 100,000 subscriber YouTuber who only has 42 viewers at the start of the stream?" The stream had literally started, hadn't even been live for like 2 minutes, and you put out that tweet. Can you talk about how dishonest you are? Like, holy shit. And even if my viewership did drop that much, I don't give a f. Why do you care? It seems like you're the one that cares more than I do. Dumbass. Holy shit. Hiding, okay. We have Domino coming back on an alt account. Hiding my friend Domino from chat will not save your viewership. I don't care. I'm just over here interacting with my chat and watching a be a on the internet. How sad is your life that you're obsessed with my numbers? Like, if I don't give a why the do you? Do yourself a favor. Get off of the computer, go outside, touch some grass, and I would tell you to touch some ass, but clearly you're such a loser that, like, there's no way anyone would ever touch your dick.
I mean, analytically for Tipster, there's not much hope either. Like, he's irregularly given the most brain-dead takes from a biased perspective. Like his take that the Israel-Palestine conflict has had a positive effect because it's taking the political pressure off trans people.
Obviously, like, what's going on with the Israel-Palestine conflict right now, you know, it's a serious issue, so I'm not trying to make light of it or whatever. But one positive thing that's come out of it is right-wingers have been busy talking about that and aren't really shitting on trans people anymore. So that's a plus, right?
Kids dancing with rainbows is big scary. To be fair, I don't think that's the point being made here. The point is probably that they don't realize why they're doing what they're doing. Parental influence and indoctrination seem to be what they're getting at here. I know what they're getting at. My point is, I don't care. But it's not just his former stance on Keffals. Tipster has turned heel and ran away from most of the positions he used to advocate for. Back in 2021, when Keemstar and his wife separated and Keem began dating a 20-year-old, Tipster was all for it.
Keem, how you doing?
Hey, what's going on? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'll boost you up a little bit, but you're good. What's up?
That my girlfriend is hotter than yours.
She's a pretty good-looking girl. You did really well for yourself, Keem.
They just all became irrelevant. I'm sorry that my career lasted so long that the only people left to like associate with and communicate with are in their 20s. But based on that, you know, what do? I go on TikTok, I go on Twitter, I go on Instagram, I play Fortnite. I have more in common with a 20-year-old, right, than I do with a 40-year-old, than I do with a 30-year-old, than I do with, you know what I'm saying? So what are we? I ain't taking no else.
Yeah, well, it's like I told you before. It's like everybody's just mad because you're living your best life. So, dude, cool, dude. Well, congratulations. You look like you're like super happy.
And you said one comment.
Nope. Yeah, I'm super happy. Now I gotta go, Tipster. Me and my girl, we gotta play some Roblox.
All right, take it easy, man. All right. Shout out to Keem. Thanks for coming on, man.
But 2023 comes around, and suddenly Keemstar's no longer the cool one as Keffals, so now you have to accuse him of being a pedophile. Here's another one, Lyrics. Back in 2022, Lyrics was being made fun of because of some very weird lolly pictures that he liked on Twitter. Now at the time, Tipster defended Lyrics, and he brought this up in his big response video as a point.
And second, that's a retarded fucking argument, because I literally gave the same defense to Lyrics last year. Someone who not only doesn't have tits, but also made multiple videos on me. Someone who arguably didn't deserve my defense, and yet I did it anyway. And his case was even more ridiculous. Several of the images he was called out for weren't even remotely inappropriate, like fully clothed, non-sexualized characters. It was insane.
Bro, it was insane! But uh-oh, here comes 2023, Lyrics is making fun of Tipster, faking DMs as memes. So what does Tipster say? Faking DMs for relevancy? Damn dog, you really fell off. Just don't share lolly on stream again, and maybe everyone in the commentary community won't shit on you again, to the point that you cry and run away again. You literally defended him before. You were one of the only people who defended him. You are the last person who should be making fun of anyone for crying and running away from the commentary community. Tipster has even gone to the point where he has turned on his own religion for his internet community. Tipster was repping the Catholicism. He regularly wore the cross on stream, and much of him includes the same cross to this day. But whoa, now we're in a different community, hold up. I want to believe this is real. If conservatives can believe in Jesus, then you can believe this is real. Tipster, your profile picture literally has the fucking cross on it. I'm sorry, but appealing to Sky Daddy doesn't do it for me. Move along. You'd think after the situation with Rum that Tipster would learn his lesson and probably never get involved with lolly or anything related to pedophilia, but it seems that he's only continued to get worse since his move to his new community. I mean, the amount of people related to like pedophilia that he's defended is astounding. Back in late November of 2022, one of Tipster's friends under the Twitter handle @FilaneAmisto made a tweet calling out the artist Sophie LaBelle. Sophie is a trans-Canadian cartoonist who was called out after drawing a piece of diaper fur kink art. What makes this even more horrendous is that Sophie used a real child's picture as a reference image for kink art, and then Tipster gets involved here without any mention, and according to his Twitter user, he tried to argue that this wasn't sexual. FilaneAmisto hit back by saying that it was sexual, this was diaper fur art, look it up. And even then, that didn't convince Tipster. It was only after he realized his statements could be quote-unquote twisted that he took down his tweets and moved on. It was only until March 2nd, 2023 when FilaneAmisto pointed out that Sophie LaBelle had worked with kids and promoted her comic to kids, making this art look even worse. Tipster reached out and then gave an update saying he no longer stands by his argument only after he saw a post of her admitting that her drawing was a kink. Whilst Tipster's tweets of defending Sophie are no longer archived, their DM conversation on March 2nd where he refers to it is still available. But it doesn't stop here. In mid-2023, Chris Tyson of MrBeast fame started talking publicly about the transition, which caused a lot of controversy. But among it all was Chris's past obsession with Lolicon, and in particular, the drawings of Shadman, a Twitter artist known for his sexualized drawings, often of children. Shadman is the same guy who drew the 11-year-old LT Corbis and Keemstar's 7-year-old daughter in overtly sexualized ways. This is also the same guy who drew Daphne Keem from the Logan films, whose actor was 12 at the time, being abused. Shadman is like the final boss of lolicons, so when people found old tweets of Chris wanting to crank it to Lolly, and them having a physical copy of Shadman's sexualized art pieces of a character that clearly looks like a child, questions were raised. Sure, people liked Shadman back in 2016, but no one bought his art and made it a, quote, centerpiece of their living room. So how does Tipster react?
Alright guys, so as you know, there's been a lot of people on the internet making a big deal about the fact that Chris Tyson from the MrBeast crew came out as gender non-conforming recently, and they're trying to like make a lot of outrage and drama surrounding somebody basically just trying to live their life. But it's gotten to the point where people started digging into like old tweets of theirs and stuff like that to find some reason to cancel them. And the latest thing is that apparently Chris Tyson is a pedophile because he made some edgy jokes about Lolly and kids. Now, I gotta be honest, they're not the kind of jokes that I personally would make, but we've literally gotten to the point where making edgy jokes makes you a pedophile. I kid you not, that's how low the bar for pedophilia has become. At this point, give it like a month or two, and you'll be considered a pedophile just for breathing the same air as children. Oh, he's bringing up the Shad-based stuff. I don't know if I've heard anything about Shadman and Chris being friends. I know there was a controversy involving the fact that Chris allegedly owned, like there was a picture he posted on Twitter of him owning like a piece of artwork by Shadman. And I've seen the artwork in question. I'm not going to show it on stream for obvious reasons. But the artwork looked like it depicted someone who was of adult age. It looked like somebody who was very petite, kind of like a Belle Delphine type figure. It might have even been a drawing of Belle Delphine. I'm not really sure. But it was something to that degree, right? And so, I mean, my issue with that was Shadman's a very controversial figure, okay? Very controversial. They have drawn some really up in the past, okay? And so I will say this. I wouldn't be supporting Shadman. I don't know if he purchased that artwork or just printed it out or something like that, but I wouldn't be signal boosting or supporting Shadman's work because of his history. But either way, like, I've seen the artwork, and I don't personally think the artwork is anything questionable.
Bro, not again. Tipster, the girl has braces and a missing tooth, is being drawn by a pedophile. But of course, it wouldn't end there. You guys heard of Natty Forsyth, Natharix, Scrimzox? Any of those names ring a bell? Well, they're a Roblox YouTuber who got chased out of every community they joined because of their weird past. Natty is known for sexually messaging multiple minors online, as well as being openly sexual to their mostly underage fanbase and sending gore to minors on Discord. They have also posted a video advocating for MAPs, or minor attracted persons. After Tipster left the commentary community, Natty Forsyth was one of the known people in his circle of friends, and keep in mind, everything I've told you has been well known and documented for a while, but Tipster still willingly associated with this person for months.
Natty Foreskin says, please turn your camera back off. Okay, there will be no calling him a pedo in my, or sorry, her. There will be no calling her a pedo in my chat, all right? I know people have their opinions on Natty, and it's like, whatever. Y'all can have whatever opinion you want, but no calling them a pedo in my chat. Relax, okay?
It wasn't until September 2023 when Natty did a sleep stream in her underwear, where Tipster finally saw it as a step too far. But seemingly none of the other stuff seemed to bring any suspicion up. Why? Why give the benefit of the doubt to these clear-cut cases? In February 2024, Tipster got the most attention he's got since leaving the commentary community, which was when political streamer and local horse Vosh accidentally revealed his folder full of lolliporn on stream. What? And Vosh's ownership of Lolicon put a lot of his strange and questionable takes that he'd argued in the past regarding CP into even more questions than they had previously.
If you're not paying for child pornography, then there is no argument in favor of morally condemning people who get it.
It is possible for an adult and a child to have a sexual relationship and for it to have positive outcomes on the child as well.
Before the folder leaks, these takes were excused by some of Vosh's defenders because no one had any evidence that he was ever attracted to children, and they were all just used in theory to counter other moral arguments. But then the folder got leaked and people started getting really weirded out. One of the people who noticed this was Ethan Klein of H3H3, who decided to go on stream and make fun of Vosh and his takes to thousands of people. But Tipster decided to drop his take, dying on Lolly Hill in defense of Vosh a year after his defense with Rum, saying the same as before, we don't know the age, even though people have found the images, and it looks like a child. Tipster's take was, let's laugh and move on, and then Careful sided with him. H3 responded by being like, that's pretty weird, and then Careful and Tipster made this issue about Lolicon into a trans issue. It shouldn't be acceptable for people who are supposedly leftist or progressive to pedo jacket trans people. We are already the target of that from the right. Incredibly disappointing to see from people who should know better. Keep in mind, H3H3 never said anything about trans people, it's just Careful's that brings it up. After this gruesome twosome got bodied by Ethan Klein, more people started to dig into Tipster's past and all these weird takes we've gone over, resulting in a video where Tipster addresses all of these and doubles down on his Chris Tyson take, ending in this cringy bit where he throws out all the anime he has.
This whole situation has honestly ruined anime for me so much that I never want to watch anime again. I don't want anything to do with anime. I got my waist bin here and I got some of my anime. We got Death Note, one of my favorites. Throw it in the bin. We got some Dragon Ball Z, another great anime show. Throw it in the bin. Robotech seems pretty harmless, but who knows? Maybe there's some lolly in there. Throw it in the bin. Ease, based on one of my favorite RPG franchises, in the bin. Hell, I've got video games that are anime inspired. Those go in the bin too. Ease, the video game, gone. The Final Fantasy games, there's probably some lolly in there somewhere. Get rid of them. Oh, Final Fantasy VII Remakes, gotta go. Catherine, pretty sure there might be something sussy in there. Let's get rid of it. And just for good measure, Ethan calls people he views as lolicons, he calls them lollipops. So we'll get rid of Lollipop Chainsaw just to be on the safe side. I'm so sick of anime at this point. I want nothing to do with it. No more anime in my house. You don't like my opinion? Totally fine. But
no,
like,
no, it's not about your opinion. No, it's not about your opinion.
I didn't even come here to talk about like this stupid. All right. Like, I came here for a completely different conversation.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
I didn't even want to talk about this stupid Vosh anymore. It's so, like... I think it's really annoying to me. It's like people misrepresent, like, what I say is me defending Lolly, and I'm not defending, like, Lolly, okay? Like, I think it's, like, yeah, it's really f***ed up that some people, like, engage with this for sure, but, like, I don't defend this
defending Lolly, right? I'm saying you're defending the sweeping.
Look, I told you it was a bad idea for me to come on this show, and like, I'm out of here.
Now, when you line up all the people that Tipster's defended, it makes him look like a pretty weird guy who you wouldn't trust around your kids. And I see why people think about it like that, especially considering Tipster has accused others of the same thing with barely any basis. But despite all this, from the bottom of my heart, I don't think Tipster is a lolicon or a pedophile. I think he's a leech. Tipster's entire career has just been feeding off people who have more influence or are more talented until they get tired of coddling him after he continues to make dumb mistakes, and then at the first opportunity, he will strike and change teams. It's a pattern that's been going on since 2019. Tipster has never stuck to his morals. All that he's been doing for years is fitting in, and he's still doing it right now. The reason I don't think he's a lolicon or a pedophile is because 3 out of the 4 people he's defended are trans, and with the other one, Vosh, he started with using trans people as a shield for him. Tipster does not care about what these people have done. He cares about who these people are. And if Tipster really wants to help the communities that he cares about, the first step he should take is getting a new hobby that isn't YouTube, because he's garnered such a reputation that anything he associates with has the stamp of an untrustworthy, weird, vindictive, emotional man-child with a history of hypocrisy and defending lolly porn. Or you can just not listen and keep digging down. Until next time, stay safe and stay toasty.